I went to graduate school. I enjoyed it. I had a great time, but I also acknowledge the fact that from all angles, we get it at home, we get it here, we get it in church, we get it everywhere, synagogues, mosques. They teach us conformity. If you want times to be different, be different. A lot of people like to say that the whole spoken word phenomenon is brand new. No. Not at all. I mean, the whole history of poetry is longer than the written history of poetry. For instance, like the famous Homer, Homer in Greece was not a famous writer in his time. How do we know that? Because writing and reading was only taught to the elite. Most of Greece was illiterate. People gathered to hear him speak, just like this. What's amazing about the times we live in is that in the face of all this technology, in the face of MySpace and Facebook and all this shit, all it does is it enhances the power of this ancient ass shit. The life I'm living is not the life that I planned. I studied in undergrad, I majored in philosophy and trauma. I went to grad school at NYU to get my master's in acting. My plan was, to be the next fucking Terrence Howard or some shit. When I was in grad school, I started writing poetry. Granted, I'd been an MC before then, when I was a teenager, but I started writing poetry. And my whole life transformed. The most important relationship that you guys can develop starting right now is your relationship with your gut, with your intuition. Because most of us develop relationships with our doubts, with our fears. Like, I can't do that. And what we reap is bullshit. We reap lives full of doubts and fears, half-baked schemes and fucking half-baked fucking reaping. Just like, fuck that. If anything, if I could challenge you guys to do one thing, it would be this. It would be like to question everything that you were born into. I love my parents. But I acknowledge that in some ways, if I had listened to them, they would have misled me. Like when I was 8 years old and I told my father, I want to be an actor when I grow up. My father said, I'll support you as an actor if you get a law degree. At that point, I was like, I want my father's support. My mom pointed me in the right direction. I didn't realize it until I got older. Nonetheless, it wasn't until I was a junior in college that I gave up the idea of going to law school because I realized, why am I going to put all this energy on something to fall back on? That must mean that I'm not giving my all to my fucking dream. Whatever you're looking for in life is looking for you too. If you take half subtle steps towards it, then that's the way that it will approach you. If you approach it bold, freely, courageously, then that's how it will approach you. My life is a fucking dream. I have never been to work in my adult life. I guess this would count as work. Of course. But we all are. I hope so. I work against it, but LA aren't there. Anyway, I don't mean to fucking preach to you guys, but I do want to take advantage of the situation. And just say, hey, this thing, people look at the power structure, the infrastructure of this country, of this nation, like, what the fuck do we do? Shit is fucked up. You know, it's out of our hands, you know, like, most kids that I know believe in fucking, you know, don't believe in war and do believe in fucking the rights of gay people to get married. Like, all the shit that the adults are fucking confused over. What the fuck? That's really such a big deal to you? You know? It's important that we find courage. Like, for instance, when you go home Thanksgiving, like, you know, it's common tradition for most kids to go home from college Thanksgiving and, like, argue with their parents over what they've been taught. You know? Like, I remember the first time I lost my hair, my father wouldn't talk to me for, like, 6 months. You know? That shit just comes with it, y'all. Take it. Run with it. But either way, if we're going to keep on looking at the 60s and idolizing that generation, why not? Let's just fucking do it. Yeah. It is extremely possible, and all it takes, you know? I mean, what is war? War is essentially heartless business. It's heartless business. It's people who have invested in career paths that, you know, their heart's not in that, they're in the money. Their heart is invested in money. But they're able to look at all the other collateral. It's just like, oh, that's just collateral damage. Just speaking of lies, business terms. Heartless business. Exactly. If you want to be the change that you want to see in this world, then instead of basing your major on what will earn you a lot of money, base your major on what you feel you may have been put here to do. Whatever your inclination is, but it's hard as fuck, because for a lot of us that means going to our parents and being like, to my majors. Little do we admit that our fucking parents decided our majors for us. Go for it. There's money to be made in all fields, dude. I hate money. It's absurd. Absurd. You know? Anyway. I'm probably out of time. So,